It began as a whisper, a single word that traveled like wildfire through the halls of Buckingham Palace, setting off shockwaves that no one could have anticipated. Allegedly spoken by Prince William, the words, "I don't recognize my brother anymore." He chose fame over family, left the entire United Kingdom in disbelief, and reportedly brought Prince Harry to tears. Just imagining the depth of that statement is enough to make your stomach tighten, to feel the weight of betrayal and the crushing reality of someone so close turning away from everything you believed in. But what does it truly mean when the brother who shared your childhood, your secrets, and your struggles becomes someone almost unrecognizable? And how did their relationship come to this breaking point? Before we dive deeper, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any updates as we explore this extraordinary story. From the outside, William and Harry seemed inseparable, a pair of princes bound by blood and shared experiences. Royal photographers captured their laughter in the gardens of Kensington Palace, building forts and playing football, giving the world an image of perfect brotherhood. Everyone assumed that this bond would endure, that the two would always have each other's backs. Yet, behind those smiling faces and polished images, subtle tensions were simmering, tensions that would grow into a rift that would shock the world. This story is far more than royal gossip or tabloid fodder. It's about loyalty, heartbreak, family, and choices that cannot be undone. Imagine the person you trusted most, the one who knew your fears, your vulnerabilities, and your dreams, suddenly choosing a path that abandons everything you shared. Could you forgive it, or would it leave an emptiness so deep that recognition itself fades? While many think they know the story, given Harry's years in the spotlight, interviews, books, and charity work, there is far more beneath the surface. William's heartbreak may reveal a side of Harry the public has never seen, and Harry's choices might reflect something calculated and shocking, rather than mere rebellion or a quest for freedom. Born into privilege but under relentless scrutiny, William and Harry initially found solace in one another. Diana often described them as inseparable, a duo capable of weathering any storm. William, the elder by 3 years, naturally took on a protective role, shielding Harry from teasing, criticism, and media attention. Harry, in turn, admired and trusted William more than anyone else. But over time, small differences, about responsibilities, loyalty, and public life, began to widen. As Harry pursued opportunities outside traditional royal roles, the cracks grew. Media controversies only amplified the tension, but the real heartbreak occurred behind palace walls, away from public eyes. William reportedly reached out repeatedly, through letters, messages, and attempted face-to-face meetings, only to face resistance or detachment. The brother William once knew seemed distant and sometimes unrecognizable. This personal rupture didn't just affect their relationship, it reverberated across the UK. Family bonds, not politics or protocol, were at stake. The alleged words William spoke captured that heartbreak perfectly. "I don't recognize my brother anymore." He chose fame over family. This wasn't about ambition or duty, it was about a deep, personal betrayal. Why did Harry make these choices? Was it the allure of fame, Hollywood, and public attention, or something more personal, more deliberate? The reality is layered, full of contradictions. Harry's charitable work and candid interviews reflected noble intentions, yet those same decisions fueled distance and resentment. For William, responsible from a young age and carrying the weight of the monarchy, watching Harry drift away was a mixture of anger, sorrow, and disbelief, a heartbreak that would leave scars. But the story extends beyond their personal conflict. The UK watched in shock as private disagreements leaked into public knowledge, as the monarchy faced an intimate, unprecedented crisis. Social media, tabloids, and mainstream outlets dissected every rumor, yet the most compelling details are the private confrontations, messages, and confessions that never reached the public. Imagine being betrayed by someone you loved unconditionally. How do you respond? Forgive? Confront? Or silently endure, protecting the family image while your heart aches? Over the next hour, we will explore this fractured bond in depth. From their golden childhood, filled with laughter, secret games, and shared adventures, to the first subtle cracks that went unnoticed, the journey of these brothers is a story of heartbreak, loyalty, and choices that changed everything. We'll examine media storms, leaked conversations, and private confrontations, ultimately revealing shocking truths that could redefine how the world sees them. As we revisit their early years, it's clear that their bond, while strong and affectionate, was quietly tested by the pressures of royal life. William, methodical and protective, and Harry, curious and adventurous, navigated childhood under constant scrutiny, creating patterns of behavior that echoed into adulthood. Even in seemingly ordinary moments, a childhood camping trip, a minor disagreement, or a game disrupted, the seeds of tension were planted. The public saw laughter and joy, but the reality was layered with subtle competition, jealousy, and an awareness of the unrelenting media gaze. These early dynamics were critical, setting the stage for every heartbreak, confrontation, and disappointment that followed. Even as they shared jokes, pranks, and secret hideaways, the tension between William's sense of duty and Harry's pursuit of freedom began to shape the trajectory of their lives. Their golden childhood, while magical, also carried shadows, pressures, and the first hints of rivalry that would later shock a nation. The first cracks didn't appear in dramatic confrontations or scandals, they were quiet, almost invisible, in misinterpreted gestures, whispered disagreements, and small choices that seemed inconsequential at the time. But these fractures grew, slowly but relentlessly, leaving both brothers grappling with betrayal, resentment, and heartbreak. William's responsibility and caution contrasted with Harry's impulsive and adventurous nature, and what once seemed complementary began to generate friction. A simple disagreement over a football game or a minor misstep illustrated the dynamics that would define their relationship for decades. The combination of public scrutiny, private pressures, and differing personalities created a delicate and complicated bond, one that would be tested in ways few could foresee. As we move into the next chapter, we will uncover the pivotal moments behind palace walls, the confrontations and private words that escalated a quiet rift into a profound family crisis. This is not just another royal story. It is a tale of love, loyalty, ambition, heartbreak, and the haunting question of what you would do if the person you loved most in the world no longer seemed to be the same. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the first cracks have begun to reveal a story that will grip the nation and the world alike. It all began with a whisper, barely audible yet powerful enough to ripple through the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, igniting a storm that no one saw coming. Reportedly uttered by Prince William, the words, "I don't recognize my brother anymore." He chose fame over family, sent shockwaves throughout the United Kingdom and reportedly brought Prince Harry to his knees in tears. Just the thought of such a declaration is enough to make your heart tighten, to feel the weight of betrayal from someone who shared your childhood, your secrets, and your most vulnerable moments. How does one reconcile the fact that the person you once trusted above all else suddenly seems unrecognizable? How did a bond that once seemed unbreakable reach this point of no return? Before we dive deeper into this extraordinary story, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any updates as we unravel the shocking details behind one of the most talked about royal stories of our time. From the outside, William and Harry appeared inseparable, a perfect pair of brothers bound by blood, privilege, and shared experiences. Royal photographers immortalized their laughter in the gardens of Kensington Palace, captured their games, mischief, and adventures, painting a picture of perfect brotherhood for the world to admire. The public assumed this bond would last a lifetime, that these two princes would always have each other's backs. But behind those polished smiles and carefully curated photographs, subtle tensions simmered, unnoticed at first, growing slowly until they erupted into a rift that stunned an entire nation. This story is far more than gossip or tabloid fodder, it's a deeply human tale of loyalty, heartbreak, family, and the irreversible choices that sometimes define our lives. Imagine the person who knew you inside out, your confidant, your protector, suddenly choosing a path that abandons the life and bond you shared. Could anyone truly forgive such a betrayal, or would it leave a void so profound that recognition itself begins to fade? Many believe they know the story, thanks to Harry's high-profile life, his interviews, books, charity work, and public appearances, but beneath the surface lies a much more complex narrative. William's heartbreak could reveal a side of Harry that has never been seen by the public, while Harry's choices might not be impulsive acts of rebellion, but deliberate, calculated decisions with consequences few could anticipate. Raised in privilege yet under constant public scrutiny, William and Harry initially drew comfort from one another. Their mother, Princess Diana, often described them as inseparable, a pair capable of weathering any storm. William, 3 years Harry's senior, naturally assumed the role of protector, shielding his younger brother from ridicule, criticism, and the unrelenting attention of the media. Harry, in turn, looked up to William with admiration and trust, seeing him as a constant anchor in a world that demanded perfection. But over time, subtle differences began to emerge, differences in personality, responsibility, and views on public life, that widened into a gap no one could ignore. As Harry pursued unconventional paths outside traditional royal expectations, the cracks deepened. Media controversies intensified the tension, but the real heartbreak happened behind palace walls, far from public eyes. William reportedly reached out repeatedly through letters, messages, and attempts at personal conversations, only to be met with distance and detachment. The brother he once knew seemed to drift further away, almost unrecognizable. This rupture extended beyond personal anguish, it reverberated across the United Kingdom, challenging notions of family loyalty and unity in ways no royal crisis had before. William's alleged words captured the essence of that pain: "I don't recognize my brother anymore. He chose fame over family." This was no criticism of ambition or duty, it was a deeply personal expression of betrayal. Why did Harry make these choices? Was it the allure of fame, Hollywood, and global recognition, or something deeper, more intentional, and more shocking than the world could imagine? The truth is layered and complicated. Harry's charitable work, candid interviews, and public endeavors showcased noble intentions, yet those same actions created distance and resentment between brothers. For William, who bore responsibility from a young age and carried the weight of the monarchy, witnessing Harry's drift was a mixture of sorrow, anger, and disbelief, a heartbreak that would leave lasting scars. The story does not end with private conflict. The United Kingdom watched in astonishment as personal disagreements spilled into the public sphere, creating an unprecedented crisis for the monarchy. Social media, tabloids, and mainstream news outlets dissected every rumor and speculation, yet the most compelling truths remained locked away: private confrontations, heartfelt messages, and conversations that never reached the public eye. Imagine the pain of being betrayed by someone you loved unconditionally. Would you forgive? Confront? Or endure silently while protecting the image of family at the cost of your own heart? Over the next hour, we will explore the depth of this fractured bond. From their idyllic childhood filled with laughter, secret hideaways, and shared adventures, to the subtle cracks that went unnoticed at first, the story of William and Harry is one of heartbreak, loyalty, and choices that reshaped everything. We will analyze media storms, leaked messages, and behind-the-scenes confrontations to reveal truths that could forever alter public perception of these brothers. Even in their early years, their bond, while affectionate and strong, was quietly tested by the pressures of royal life. William, meticulous and protective, and Harry, adventurous and curious, navigated a childhood under relentless scrutiny, creating patterns of behavior that echoed into their adult lives. Moments that seemed ordinary, childhood games, minor disagreements, or playful mischief, were often charged with subtle tension, jealousy, and the unspoken weight of media observation. These early experiences were instrumental, planting seeds of competition and rivalry that would later erupt into heartbreak for both brothers. Their golden childhood was not without shadows, it carried pressures, expectations, and the first hints of rivalry that the public would eventually witness with disbelief. The earliest cracks were quiet, almost imperceptible, hidden in misinterpreted gestures, whispered disagreements, and small decisions that seemed trivial at the time but grew into significant fractures over the years. William's cautious sense of duty clashed with Harry's impulsive, adventurous nature, creating friction where once there was complementarity. Even minor disputes over games or childhood choices foreshadowed the dynamics that would define their relationship for decades. Public scrutiny, private pressures, and contrasting personalities converged to form a fragile, complicated bond, one that would be tested in unimaginable ways. As we continue, we will uncover the pivotal moments behind closed doors, the conversations, confrontations, and private words that transformed a quiet rift into a public crisis that gripped the nation. This is far more than a royal story, it is a tale of love, loyalty, ambition, heartbreak, and the haunting question of what you would do if the person you cherished most in the world no longer seemed to be the same. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the first cracks are exposing a story that will captivate the world and leave audiences questioning the true nature of family, duty, and betrayal.